everyone. Today we're going to take a look at something a little bit different in EverQuest 2, and this one is a player-made dungeon, not a house. So for this one, in order to view it, it's actually listed in the Dungeon Maker system. If you've never been in the Dungeon Maker system or it's been a hot minute since you've been back in here, it is still accessible. You can hit the EQ2 button and go to Dungeon Maker, and it brings up a list just as it would for the housing and leaderboards. For this one, it's in Hall of Fame, and you can sort. Sorting is not as easy. You can't search very easily in here. But if you look under Action Recent, um, this one is number 2. Or if it falls, you can usually do by author, and this one's number 7. So this one is titled Search for the Sorcerer Stone, and this is one that I did many, many years ago, but it's one that was just visited on the Maj'Dul Decorator, which was themed Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And during that live event, it was run through as if you were a first year student that playing through the entire storyline. So this was close to the end, of course, because as we know, this is where Harry and his friends ended up, and Harry confronts Quirrel and Voldemort. So this is that series of events of what happens once they get past Fluffy. So when you first zone in, this was done in the Poet's Palace layout of Dungeon Maker. So everything has been completely reskinned to look like you're within the castle, including the door that you come through. There's a little information book over here that talks about each room in the dungeon and points of interest from the book. So when you first come in, you've got Fluffy. And the thing about player-made dungeons is that you get to actually fight mobs in it. So it's pretty cool. You can decorate everything just as you would in a house, but you can place mobs to actually battle. And you can see I don't even have a hot bar up with any spells. Mobs are very, very easy. And just with my thorns that are on, he's dead. So it's not very much of a adventure challenge, if you will, but it's still fun to play through. So once you defeat Fluffy, you can come through and you find yourself amidst a bunch of Devil's Snare. So the Devil's Snare room, you can fight your way through. Some of the mobs you might be able to get past without fighting if you just want to check out the decor. Then you find yourself coming down a tunnel past the Devil's Snare, going deeper and deeper into the bellies of the castle. Tried to keep everything looking like you were, still within the castle the entire time. There was not a huge assortment of mobs that would still be fitting, so I tried to pull things like rats and spiders, castle rats. Another cool thing about Dungeon Maker was that you get to name all of the mobs that you place. So adds to the immersion a little bit. And then after the Devil's Snare room, you come into the room with a bunch of flying keys. So I've got a lot of keys that were suspended up in the air. And then we have some transfigured key mobs down here to attack you. It's one of the few mobs that had wings. And if I can actually attack it, I'm not used to not having hotkeys up with my attacks. I've got a couple brooms stuck over here on the side. We didn't have broom items at the time. It was an appearance item, so that's on the back of mannequins that are stuck in the wall, just to look like some brooms. So of course in the book, Harry had to use a broom to fly up and find the key that had the broken wing. So it was a little bit slower. And of course, when he went to go and grab the key, all the other keys started to attack him. But here's the key on the ground after you've unlocked the door and stepped through. In this room, we have the chess scene. I think this is one of the most known scenes, with the giant chess pieces, playing a game of wizard's chess, going across. If you are not great at playing chess, then just fight your way across. That is permissible in this dungeon. And not all of them are going to attack you, only some. So it doesn't take much to get across as well. So I think back when I first made this dungeon, it was a very short time limit. I think it was like a 2-week time limit. Sony had announced a contest that was promoting their dungeon maker, and they were asking for player submitted dungeons, and there was a date that it was due. So it was very short, whatever it was. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, like a week or 2 weeks. And I submitted this one as one of them. I did not win. I got feedback that there needed to be more mobs, which I find kind of funny because, well, obviously there's not many mobs in here, but when somebody was playing through in the live event just a couple nights ago, the instructions were to fight through using just your little wand that you were given, and they followed those instructions. It was pretty amazing. And as he was going through, he said, "Hey, there's a lot of mobs in here." So he was really taking his time. I got the biggest kick out of that because I just kept remembering that feedback that said I didn't put enough mobs in this zone. So here we are, 10 years later, and somebody said there were too many mobs. All right, in this room we have a confounded troll. So this is a mob that was not in the movie, but if you read the book, there was a troll that was in the book. Of course, when our main character came across the troll, he was already knocked out. But I went ahead and put him kind of wandering around, so it was an extra mob to kill. And this was like the troll's room down in the dungeon, because remember, all of the different characters had contributed, um, all of the different teachers had contributed an enchantment to try to protect the sorcerer's stone. And as we found out later, Quirrel was actually really good with trolls, which is ironic because he's the one that went running from the troll initially in the movie. Um, but he was really good with trolls, so he had put the troll down here. And then coming into this room, again, this was one that was not shown in the movie, but it was one that was in the book. So it was a room that our characters passed through, and there was a riddle. This was one that was placed by Severus Snape to help protect the Sorcerer's Stone. And I didn't mean to kill that one yet, but here we are. This was a riddle that was left from Severus Snape, and it was about potions. So some of the potions were poison, and one of the potions was able to let you pass through the black flames that were ahead of you in the room. So I just kind of tucked the scroll here and sunk down the book so that I could put the potion riddle. I'm not going to read through this whole thing because it's been a long day and you don't want to hear me talk right now. But if you'd like to try to figure out the potion riddle, there is a spoiler in the next page. You can read through it and see if you can figure out which potion bottle would have gotten you through the flames. And then once he passed through the flames, here he came face to face with Quirrel. So we have our Professor Quirrel right here. Once you defeat him, then we see Lord Voldemort, or what's sort of left of Lord Voldemort. So defeating him, we have the mirror of Erised, and of course backwards, mirror of desire. And when you look into the mirror, you can actually stand and kind of get it in the right spot. You can have the Sorcerer's Stone in your own pocket. So that is how you defeat this dungeon and get the Sorcerer's Stone. All right. Well, if you are interested in checking this one out, it is listed on the Dungeon Maker on Maj'Dul, and it's listed as Search for the Sorcerer's Stone. Thanks for watching. Bye.